This season, Bruno Fernandes is the Premier League's assist leader by a wide margin, even breaking David Beckham's historic record. But the curious thing is that more than half of his assists came under the command of Michael Carrick, even though the new manager has coached only 10 of his 28 matches in the competition. All of this is due to a sudden change in United's tactics that boosted the team's performance. And a considerable portion of this improvement has been due to the simple fact that Carrick has empowered his most creative player. Here is the heat map of 3 games of Bruno Fernandes with Ruben Amorim. And here is the heat map of 3 games of Bruno Fernandes with Michael Carrick. The difference in the Portuguese midfielder's role under the command of the two managers is notorious. With the English manager, Bruno is much more secure to act in the attacking field and get closer to the goal, which has been making the difference. Much of this is due to the system change that happened in the transition between the managers. Under Amorim's command, Bruno Fernandes played as a second defensive midfielder, forming a duo with Casemiro, although in practice he played further ahead of the Brazilian. However, in the Portuguese manager's system, Casemiro and Bruno were isolated figures in the midfield and were constantly at a numerical disadvantage, ending up overworked. Even if the midfielders received support from the wingers, Bruno was generally part of the duo that stayed further from the goal. He is a player with skills that can help in the build-up, but his greatest potential lies in creativity, intelligence, and decision-making power near the goal. And here he had fewer opportunities to do that. Now with Carrick, United plays in a 4-2-3-1. The Manchester team's midfield gained the reinforcement of Kobbie Mainoo, which gave more freedom and support for Bruno Fernandes to take on the position of a number 10, playing behind the centre forward. Bruno drops much more to the left side, where he can find more passing lines, since he is right-footed. However, he can also drop through the right half space to find that typical arched pass into the box. But speaking a bit about his dynamics with the ball rolling, this positioning generates a partnership that has been fundamental to the success of Carrick's United, Bruno Fernandes and Mbeumo. The Cameroonian attacker left the right forward position, where he played under Amorim's command, and took on the role of a false 9. This positioning brought Mbeumo and Bruno Fernandes closer together. The number 19 of the Manchester team, who is left-footed, frequently makes the movement from the middle to the left half space to take advantage of his strong foot when Bruno receives inside and carries the ball through the middle. It is a recurring pattern that generates several opportunities. In the Manchester derby, this even resulted in a goal. This goal, especially, shows why it is so important to have Bruno Fernandes closer to the goal. He leads the counterattack, carries through the middle, Mbeumo drops to the left side. But there is a problem: the monstrous Kusanov following Mbeumo's run. So Bruno pulls a little bit to the right, carries, until he passes a bit of Kusanov's line. Then Kusanov does this: a sudden break so as not to open the middle too much, where Bruno is carrying the ball. It is time to make the pass. With Kusanov stopping and Mbeumo accelerating, the Cameroonian gains a lot of distance from the centre-back and receives it to finish well, leaving no chance for Donnarumma. Another point is the dynamic between Bruno Fernandes and Matheus Cunha. While Matheus Cunha can make the diagonal inward movement, approaching the box, Bruno Fernandes can make an arc to drop to the left side. This is a sector where the Portuguese can elude the marking and penetrate the box like an attacker. Here is an example, in the game against Bournemouth. This is Bruno Fernandes, wide open on the left. And this is Matheus Cunha, even further on the right side. I will open a parenthesis to highlight the positioning of Mbeumo and Cunha, between the full-backs and centre-backs, holding Bournemouth's line of 4. This is a very important factor for this play, which will allow Bruno to enter completely free. The play unfolds on the right side and all 4 Bournemouth defenders look at the ball, while Bruno Fernandes, who placed himself totally off the defense's radar, funnels in and places himself in a very comfortable position behind the full-back's back. This position gives a great option for Dalot's cross, who plays it exactly to the Portuguese, who takes a shot of a certain difficulty for a great save by Petrovic. Here, the same pattern once again, in the game against Tottenham, in a slightly different context because of the extra player. However, once again, he places himself after the fullback in an unassuming manner. This is the crucial point. He anticipates the possibility of the cross and already positions his body to attack the second post, while the entire Tottenham defensive line positions their feet toward the ball. The cross goes to the second post, he anticipates the marker, and finishes into the goal. But it is not only in this type of play that this dynamic between the two takes effect. Here, Casemiro with the ball, Cunha inside, and Bruno moving to the left. Cunha observes the distance he is from the center-back and, at the moment of Casemiro's pass to Bruno, he sprints, and here Bruno doesn't even waste time. A pass with the exact timing, space, and power to leave Cunha face-to-face with the goal. Bruno Fernandes has been playing a fundamental role in Carrick's 4-2-3-1, the role of the number 10. Here on the final screen, I will leave my video about the 4-2-3-1, where I also talk about the importance of the number 10 in this formation. I recommend that you watch it right now. A big hug and until next time, thanks.